week, she dropped some information saying that she wanted to start a podcast. And she did a couple of promo videos about the podcast. Miss Wendy Williams, if you don't know who we're talking about. Interestingly enough, when she dropped these videos about promoting her podcast, people were very, immediately concerned about her appearance. So I'm going to show you the first video that she actually dropped. So this is the first video she dropped actually on her Instagram.
To do something else. And what I've never done, podcast, which by the way, podcast everyone has. But when you're famous, podcast will make more money for me being famous than doing the Wendy Williams show. So podcast, where will I go? I'm not sure. Europe, the France, wherever I want to go. Also, I know Oz. I know, many people.
So that was her original when she dropped her promo video. So, TMZ is on everybody's stuff. They know everything going on. So TMZ decided to do a quick thing with her and discuss, oh, you want to do a podcast. And that was her explaining why she wanted to do podcast, not a podcast, but podcast. Podcast. And so she was also photographed out. She was photographed out this week, and this was the photograph that had a lot of people worried. And I'll remove this bottom banner so everyone can see like the skin and the legs that everyone was kind of concerned about. I know she was going through where she's, I guess, battling lymphedema, where you have that swelling of the tissues, and sometimes it can make you swell. I mean, I guess this may be effective, maybe the swelling going down in her legs, but it's a little bit alarming for a lot of people. Before I say anything about how I feel about the situation, Jametrice, how do you think about podcasts?
I'm going to start a podcast. Now, she does seem very disoriented. She seems, it's crazy how you go from a radio show to having your own syndicated TV show, and then now it just seems like mentally something's going on, and you've been like starring your own TV show. You had to be scripted in some ways, say what you wanted in some ways. You seem very coherent, seem like you knew what you were talking about, and now you don't seem like you know what you're talking about. You seem disheveled, all over the place. Like, did they say mentally something was going on? Or, I know she had Graves. Did she have Graves' disease? Or
Now what I will also say, just to keep this in mind, it was reported by Page 6 this past week as well that she had made a claim to have gotten married a week or so ago. I think Wendy Williams, she called the Page 6 founder, whatever, is that, oh, I'm excited. I just got married to this past week, and he's a police officer. And so he was shocked, of course, because no one had known she was even dating anybody to get married. So apparently her PR agent came out and said, oh, no, it was a mistake. She didn't mean to say that she was married. She may be just really excited about a new relationship, and she just misspoke, said that they were married and not married. So after that, people were kind of thinking there's something mentally going on. And ever since, her and her husband got divorced, it was this weird thing going on with her mental stability. So, and then when she came across this past week and said that she got married last week, that sparked even more debates.
Well, women have been known to lose their man over, and men, we ain't gonna just say women, but being in relationships, and especially what she has been through, is a traumatic situation. And then now she has to navigate her life without this man that she has spent so many years with, has put up with a lot of things from. And it seems like some people, when nobody knows about their situation, they seem like they could cope with it a lot more, especially in her case, she's in front of everybody. And as long as we didn't know all the juicy details and gossips about her situation, it was like she was still going on. The moment it seemed like she had to spill her own tea, and everybody like really got into her business and shocked, because it's like, you that how you doing, you're the gossip queen, and here you got all this stuff under your daggone bed, like, hiding in your closet. And it's like, and then it's just like, it tears you down, because as a man, it's like, as a woman, and you're dating this, you're married to this man, and your money is going to the new woman, or the woman the mistress that's been there, and they having a baby, and you had all these. Did y'all watch her Lifetime story?
Mm-mm. I watched the breakdown of it. I don't know, like with Wendy, like Wendy, like she also has a substance abuse problem.
Yeah.
Like she allegedly, but also like before, that's why she went on hiatus before. And well, also, with the thyroid issues, and she had all of that going on. I think she does have a lot of stuff going on. And I think now, of course, she looks very disoriented on that video.
And then also keep in mind that also in July, she banks with Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo apparently filed conservatorship papers on her. They didn't think that she is mentally able to actually be in control of her own finances. So they've actually filed conservatorship papers on her, stating that they're also concerned as well about her mental well-being.
I can see that. I used to watch Wendy. You said what? I used to watch Wendy.
Saying, like, if you watched her Lifetime, she's one of those people that has a lot going on, and she hides it. So she puts this facade up, and you got a lot of stuff going, and eventually you're gonna crack. And she's just cracking at this moment. Unfortunately, she's doing it in front of everybody because she is a celebrity. And now we're witnessing the decline of Wendy Williams. But hopefully, praying that she rise back up. Come on now, Queen.
But I remember before.
So Kelly B, your thoughts on everything?
Yeah, I had watched Wendy from honestly from get-go, when she first went, like, to see the way she looked from now, to see the way she would speak about things from now. She had a little bit of a zest, a little bit of pizzazz. Like, I can remember even when she was like a VJ, she used to be on the red carpets on E, saying stuff, and she'd be wilding, but she was funny as hell to me. And then it's like, you see the way like her takes on certain situations will be to where it'd be like super cut, and you like, damn, Wendy, like, where that's coming from? That don't really seem quite that logical like you was before. Like, it ain't really as funny now. You just you cutting now, like you being facetious, and it's like, for what?
But she, even before her show, I felt like she did that. Remember when she first was a VJ, and not first VJ, when her VJ stuff kicked off, and she was on VH1, and they gave her that show.
She was
with Charlamagne.
Like a couple times before. Like, I remember her then too, but like not far back, like in the 93. I wasn't really checking it like that far back. But it's like to see, like, you saw the decline, and then when you could tell, like, when she would come out and the way she'd be walking and stuff, it's just and how old is she? She's only 58.
She's 58.
And that's, my mom is 58. My mom is 58. I had to make sure.
And there is a video, and I didn't put that up, of her walking this past week. And that's what they're saying. She's doing all that because she's suffering from lymphedema. Yeah. Because she's saying when she stopped the show last July that it was because of health issues. She said she's not saying it's substance abuse. Yeah. She's saying that it was other health issues that she has going on.
She got a lot going on. It's just terrible to see. And a lot of people I've seen on the internet, like I saw the story about this before. I've seen people like say stuff like, a lot of people are great, aren't like biting at her right now because they feel bad for her. They was like, even though she said a bunch of like crazy stuff before, and she was like that, like, I feel bad for her. And you do, like, even when you saw, like, when Jametrice was talking about with the mistress and all of that stuff playing out there, you just genuinely was just like, damn, you felt bad. And it's like, now this too, it's like, you do kind of just feel bad for her. It's unfortunate. Like, I'm
glad people don't want to. I'm glad people are not using this as like saying karma, because you know how some people be like, this is what they get. She shouldn't have been doing all this and that. So I'm glad people are more sympathetic to her.
But I honestly don't think people are going to be sympathetic probably for too long. The thing is, People are sympathetic, it seems like, to a certain extent. And then later on, I'm just concerned because it was almost like watching that thing, and I'll even put it back up here. If you looked at her when she was talking, it was almost like she was
And
holding
I
up
was
her.
like, you know,
It
I've
looks
got
like
enough
she's
money
holding up
to do
her
something else.
her
And
face, and I don't know why. It just, and it was like she never moved his hand the whole time was talking. She didn't.
But she had kind of always done that. Like,
But
even
she's
when
always holding, because it may be because the video is kind of far away. She's always holding to the side, but this time she's actually kind of like holding her chin up as she's talking, and it was like
If you
the
look at the
weirdest thing.
picture, though, her face, her that picture that you showed when she was walking, if you look up close
It
up,
looks a little different.
Yeah, something looked like it's
And so,
sagging or.
and I know that she has, unfortunately, a lot of
she had a
plastic
stroke.
surgery, so she may have had like her, because she's losing such a rapid amount of weight. Maybe it's
Yeah,
kind
you
of
see how loose
making her
skin
features a
is?
little bit more exaggerated than they normally are.
Her skin
Yeah,
is like terribly loose. That means she is incredibly emaciated. Like she is
But like I
very
said, she has
skinny.
lymphedema. So you could say that, you know, with lymphedema, you'll swell. So it could be that she swelled, her limbs swole, and then now and it came down so rapidly. But then there's also this concern of people saying maybe she's having issues with not eating because she looks so, like you said, emaciated. So I don't know. I hope she gets better. I don't think that I would watch her podcast. I feel like a podcast right now is not the healthiest thing for her.
She's not gonna do a
I feel
podcast. She can't even form a complete sentence now, just with a little interview. A podcast, she not there for that.
Do we really want to see Wendy on a podcast? Like,
But
no.
it's like maybe old Wendy. I wouldn't mind saying it. Old
Wendy, but
yeah, but now,
But this Wendy needs to focus on herself first. And that's the way I see it.
She ain't gonna be able to do it. It's gonna be a lot of just what's that? And then it's gonna be repetition and stuff. It ain't gonna be coherent.
And that's why I said people are only going to be nice for a certain amount of time, because if she gets on the podcast and she starts doing her normal stuff that she used to do, people are not going to be nice to her anymore. They're going to say, okay, now you on here looking crazy, and they're going to laugh at her.
I think sometimes people, if they get better, if they get a little bit better, it's like one of those things. It seems like people do, like, okay, if you get your leg up on something and the podcast do kind of well, then maybe they might. But if it still do bad and she still go on the decline and she still look like she about on the verge of death, let's be real, then they gonna still feel bad for her, because it's gonna be like, oh, she about to go to the upper room soon.
And what is
they gonna feel pity. They do, because people only feel bad for people because before they had all that vitriol for her because she was talking, and yada. Even when they found out about the mistress, you still had people in there, a lot more, louder people that were saying, oh, that's what she get, but now it's one of them things, like, people think it's gonna go
and
terribly.
Her father still alive because her mom passed, right?
Did she? I didn't know that.
I don't know. Let me look that up.
I didn't either, because honestly, I hadn't even been checking for her recently, so I'm not even gonna lie.
Like she was very close to her parents.
She was, and that's the thing. I just haven't been paying attention to her. She had a lot going on. I just hope she gets it together.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of them times when,
dang, like last year, early last year.
On the YouTube, because I mean, I wish I would be famous and my brother then started the YouTube talking about me. Talk about your own stuff. You supposed to be right. You supposed to be cradling around your family. This is where, like, even if you're mad with your family, if your family member is declining in their health, I mean, and it could be a possibility, especially like if they look like they're on a verge of death, something in you should be like, we need to gather around what? The verge of death.
It may not think she likes you on the verge of death.
She do.
Kelly said it.
I hope she
I don't like
better.
to speak that, but Kelly says she look like she on the verge of death.
And y'all know, do she not?
I mean, to us she do, but maybe her brother think that's the way she always look. We don't know what she look like when she take that makeup off.
Girl, but I'm just saying, this is one of them times when your family should really, the closest people in your life should just gather you with love. I mean, I know that you can't control a person. You can't make them.
But at the same time, you and I can say, and I can say from personal experience, not even to say anything about anybody else, that family is not always the ones who will wrap you up like you're supposed to.
That's true. It depends on what was Cause some family members of mine, I'm gonna have to think real hard and
Right,
really,
because some family
really
members
search
will
my
do you
soul
in while they up on when they on
if I'ma
top, they
come
doing you
around.
in. And then so by the time you trying to come around and be nice, you're like, oh no, remember them
Like
times?
the ones that actually love her. Because family, they claim they love you.
Like,
Yeah.
what's that? Her
You
best
might-
friend? Who's the best friend that she used to always talk about? Like, I would think maybe she would come around. Like, from what I know, they was thick as thick. But you know what? We don't know that she ain't around.
Right.
Because the way she treated
So,
Nene,
who?
when Nene called her,
Nene be wild.
She need to be treated exactly how she treated because she old trifling person
I can
anyway.
understand if somebody kind of hit her.
but I mean,
Right.
I'm just saying, if you my friend, like, okay, so we all have. Well, I don't say we all have friends that, but I don't know. It's just the way
I
she
ain't
is
even gonna do
national
it because
media.
Nene ain't even the
I
person
ain't
I'ma
know. I
need
don't
to
know if I
no,
got one of
no,
them.
Okay.
no.